everybody, guess who's here? Jeff Hopper, Tracy Hanson. We're back again talking about people who help. And we've had kind of a good run here. We're going to talk this time about hospitality, which seems like, how do we do this in the player-caddy relationship?
Yeah.
But describe for us a little bit what it's like on mini tours. A lot of times the player, the caddy, they're traveling together, they're rooming together. They are in each other's space, aren't they?
Yeah. What's interesting is that on the Symetra Tour, they actually don't have caddies.
Oh, yeah.
They're carrying their own bag or pushing their own cart.
Now, the Symetra Tour is like AAA for the LPGA Tour. It's the minor leagues,
yeah, it's like the web.com, but doesn't have the same amount of resources.
Right, right.
So the fact that if they could ever have a caddy, it's actually a blessing. And a lot of people sometimes volunteer their time during that week, like a member or something, which goes back to generosity, which we just talked about. But even when I played on tour, I had a couple caddies I had one female caddy, and so there were a few times that we shared a room to cut down expenses and traveled together or drove together, or another caddy I had, we would share my car to get from point A to point B a few times like that.
Now, another common experience on both those tours is host families, isn't it?
Yes.
You are a guest in someone's home.
Yep.
Is that always a good experience?
I'd say I had about 97%
of
my experiences in a host family were great.
What makes for a great host, great hospitality?
Provision of just a safe place to rest, sleep. Good host families will offer a meal, but I think what really makes a good host family is they offer space. So some of the harder host families want to have a party every night and want to kind of showcase, we got a player here, let's have all of our friends over.
Okay.
Maybe once during the week is okay, but when you're doing it every day, it's just not beneficial to the athlete. So I had probably 50-50, like 50% of the time I stayed in host families, 50% I stayed in hotels just to have that experience. But on the Symetra Tour, the girls are looking for host families every week because they need that hospitality in order to survive out there on that tour.
Cost factor.
Cost.
Yeah.
Yep.
If I'm welcoming you, what you're telling me is making someone feel welcome isn't always about celebrating them.
Right.
Having that big party. Sometimes it's letting them be who they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, allowing them their needs to be met. Our fellowships are in a position to welcome people all the time, and I would say that a hospitable fellowship is probably a growing fellowship, isn't it?
I would think so, where there's no judgment. There's no, you have to think this way or talk this certain way, but just anybody's welcome. Come, we're going to sit at the table together and we're going to have discussion. And there might be disagreements or differences of opinions, but it's not judgmental.
Yeah. Late in the letter to the Hebrews, it said, do not forget to entertain strangers because sometimes it might be an angel among you, which is a wild thought.
Right.
But whether or not it's an angel, we really need to be, as followers of Christ, always looking for ways to welcome others in, don't we?
Yeah, and with my experience traveling in the Middle East, I think about the Eastern hospitality.
Oh, yeah.
And so what would it be like for a fellowship to welcome somebody in without asking a lot of personal questions? And Middle Eastern hospitality is like, you can come, you can stay for 3 days, no questions asked, they will protect you with their life.
Wow.
And so what would it be like for our fellowships to be able to welcome somebody to the extent of, like, you just come, you just be, we're not going to, like, poke you and ask no questions and just be there.
What do you think that does in the long run? The first few times I show up, nobody's in my kitchen. Does that warm me to hearing what you have to say in the long run?
I think there's a difference between inviting somebody in and asking questions like, just, where are you from? Like, do you have your family? Personal questions versus, like, what's your theology? What do you think about this? And do we agree here? I think there's a difference between inviting.
So there's a ramping up in building a relationship.
Yeah.
But it starts with that. You're welcome hospitality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we hope that you're learning more and more things about how to help others. We'll be back next time with another idea for how you might do that.